Hello, fight fans. Seattle Mike of MMA with Friends here. Everybody, please hit that like button or I'll kick you in the kneecap. Make sure and hit that subscribe button if you like boxing, UFC, violence, that kind of thing. If that's not really your thing, if you're some kind of peace-loving hippie that stares at Buddha statues all day, eats soybeans, and is basically a beta male, maybe this isn't for you. Let's start talking about the lightweight division in the UFC, though, because holy cow. I have never disagreed with Chael Sonnen so much. Now, I wanted to make this video before he made his. I've just been a bit slow, but Chael, I've never disagreed more with one of his takes than I did of his video a couple days ago. Let's listen to Chael Sonnen, and then I'm going to talk about everybody that's threatening to quit in the UFC lightweight division, who I think should get the next title shot and everything in between.
We've heard that they're trying to get Gaethje and Oliveira together. One of those guys is a chicken. We just don't know who it is. We're going to find out. They've managed to play this very close to the vest. Sooner or later, if that fight doesn't get signed, we're going to hear who the skunk at the garden party is. We're going to hear who was scared of who. Michael Chandler is now available and in a higher spot, I would argue, than Oliveira or Gaethje. You can tell me that's not fair. I don't say it is fair. But I do understand the guy that rides in from out of town wearing the white shirt knows the most. I see it all the time just in my own practice room.
So let's break this down. First, let's put up the lightweight rankings. Khabib Nurmagomedov, he still has the belt, but that's just causing a lot of chaos right now. And that's not his fault. That's, if anybody's to blame for that, it's the UFC and Dana White. Because Khabib has said he has no interest in fighting right now. He said he wanted Conor and Dustin to be for the championship. And basically said, go out there, impress me. And if one of you guys impresses me, I'll just come back and win my belt. It's not a big deal. And I agree with him. It kind of is not, because he would come back champion emeritus. He would keep his pay-per-view points in a rematch. And every time you defend the belt, I mean, it's basically like you're coming in as the challenger again anyways. The only way a champion leaves with the belt without defeating the other guy is there's a disqualification or a draw. Both of which, of course, are very rare. But recently, Justin Gaethje said that if Conor McGregor got the next shot against Dustin Poirier, that he would seriously think about retiring. Then Dustin Poirier, on the other hand, right before that, said if he has to fight Michael Chandler for the belt, that he would prefer to just go do his charity rather than to come back into fighting. Who's more right in those comments? In my mind, by far, Dustin Poirier. And he's the only one out of this group we've talked about so far that I believe should be fighting for a championship and really has a legitimate argument for the championship, outside of the guy currently wearing the belt that looks like that will not be for much longer. But one of the guys Chael just talked about, he said, who's the chicken? He says, who's the chicken? Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. They're talking about putting that fight together. Well, Charles Oliveira's on an 8-fight winning streak. He's finished 7 of those fights, and the only fight that he didn't finish, the only fighter that he didn't finish is from this video right here, where he broke Tony Ferguson's arm in the first round. And that fight arguably could have been stopped probably several times. And, I mean, wow, Oliveira just beat the hell out of him. And then you got Gaethje complaining. He said, oh, Conor shouldn't get that championship bout because he just lost to Dustin. And I agree with him, but I don't think he makes a case for himself either, being that he just got choked out by Khabib in his last fight. And the other guy, the guy that, he should be fighting for the belt, has also defeated him. So he really doesn't have much of an argument over Conor, who just got knocked out in the second round against Dustin Poirier. Now let's go back to these lightweight rankings, and I'm going to play matchmaker and tell you guys what should really happen. Justin Gaethje should bounce back down one more, not because he did anything bad because I want to punish him, but because I want to bring Charles Oliviera up one more spot for that big victory over Tony Ferguson and the victory against Kevin Lee before that, and the 6 victories in the last 2.5 years before that. Charles the Bronx Oliveira, he may not be the highest marketable guy. And Dustin, he's probably the 3rd most marketable guy of the guys that we have talked about. Conor being number 1, Justin being number 2. Always love watching either one of those guys fight. Somewhere along the line, though, we have to make a decision. Do we want the belt to matter? Do we want the rankings to matter? Do we have any respect for our own rankings? These are not the AP rankings. These are the UFC rankings. And the UFC rankings have a gentleman named Conor McGregor on here ranked at number 6. Now, since when have we been giving the guy ranked number 6 a championship bout without someone falling out of a main event, and with all of these guys healthy and ready to go, no fights scheduled? If you're talking about healthy and ready to go, Conor McGregor has the worst argument moving forward. Justin Gaethje, he just had his title shot literally in his last fight. He has the 2nd worst argument. How they cannot see that this has got to be Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier blows my mind. And if Conor McGregor wants to head over to boxing and fight Manny Pacquiao or whatever it is that he wants to do, or go fight Logan Paul, or whoever he wants to go box over there, either you let him do it, or if he needs permission in the contract, you don't let him do it. You say, that you're retired. And one of the reasons Justin Gaethje is so upset is he is tired of seeing Conor McGregor hold the UFC and whatever division he happens to be in at the time, if it's not 2 divisions, hostage. But that's the only part I agree with him on. It literally makes no more sense to give Justin Gaethje the title shot coming off of losing a championship match than it does Conor McGregor. And for that matter, Conor McGregor has lost 2 of his last 3 matches. And the only bright spot he has had in the last several years was a win against a washed up, overwhelmed Donald Cowboy Cerrone, who in his own words froze in the moment. Does that sound like a title contender to you? Not really so much to me. So here's what I would do. And where does Michael Chandler fit in all of this? Where does Michael Chandler fit in all this? Because Dustin Poirier also kind of threatened to leave the UFC. Said he would rather do some of his charity work than end up fighting Chandler for the belt. So let's make some of these thoughts connect. Let's look at our own rankings. Like I said, I want to move Charles Oliveira up to number 2. I want to move Gaethje down to 3. And then we can work through these rankings. Oh, look at this. Conor McGregor and Tony Ferguson are ranked right above each other. 6-5. Move Gaethje down. Oh, look! Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje. Michael Chandler gets a big win over Justin Gaethje. Nobody's really arguing about him being in the title position anymore, being in the title talk. Conor McGregor goes out there and gets a definitive win over Tony Ferguson. At least definitely his name is back in there. And arguably they're at similar positions in their career, even though I know Tony Ferguson is 6 years older, and I could go deeper into what's going on with Conor and why he lost that fight, but I'm going to save that for another video. This is the opportunity for a great tournament here, though. Like I said, and you have so many things that can go on here. The only guy on this entire list that is scheduled to fight anybody in the top 10 is Diego Ferreira, which I believe is this next week coming up. So there you go. Conor and Tony. Chandler and Gaethje. Oliveira and Poirier. You got 6 of the best lightweights in the history of the UFC division. You have 3 great fights. And if Conor defeats Ferguson, you get that rematch. If Ferguson defeats Conor, maybe he gets in there. And if he does get his hands on that belt, that, in my opinion, will be the only thing at lightweight that will bring Khabib Nurmagomedov out of retirement, is a fight against a motivated Tony Ferguson coming off of a big win. That's the one that got away for both of them and for the entire MMA world. Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira, I think he could beat Dustin Poirier, but like I said, Oliveira, 8 wins in a row. He's finished 7 of them. The only one he didn't finish was Tony Ferguson. Real quick, looking at Justin Gaethje's argument for a title shot right now. Not only did he lose his last fight, he's lost against the only guy with a legitimate claim to the championship. Poirier, after that last fight, Khabib wanted that to be for the championship. And Poirier, he's on top of the world right now. It's his game. And he's beaten Conor and Gaethje. And Justin Gaethje, as much as I love him, and it kind of pains me a little bit to hate on him too much, you're threatening to retire, and you just got a title shot. You have 8 fights in the UFC. Yes, you've gotten a bonus in like 7 of them. But he's only 5-3 in the UFC. Justin Gaethje is practically a 500 fighter. I know he's always fought the best. The worst guy he has fought since he came into the UFC was Michael Johnson. And that was even a different Michael Johnson back then than he is now. So they definitely threw him to the wolves every chance they got. And Justin Gaethje came through the fire. But I feel like after that loss, he needs to get another win. Chandler needs to get another win. Conor needs to get another win. And that only leaves one clear path to the belt, and that is Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down there in the comments down below. Am I being too hard on Chael? Do you agree with me as far as that? He did have 20% thumbs down on his last video. Very, very rare for his videos. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to be getting back to this soon as we got UFC coming up next week. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.